Good day. Remember to breathe. Breathe slow. Take life as it comes. Keep rolling. So another topic I wanted to share with everyone is I often find that if people ask me advice, I do my best not to give it and help them to figure out whatever is from inside of themselves. And that's what has helped, others have helped me do this. They help me in the same way. We often already know the answer if we're asking the question, and we don't always like the answer. So we want somebody else to tell us something otherwise. And, just be mindful of that. And, more specifically, the idea I was thinking about was when I give advice or when I give a suggestion, whether it's to my son or to a friend or to a client, it is often and almost always, especially if I could see, this behavior in others, it's something that I either have done or continue to do now. And when I'm giving advice, it's often advice that I also need to hear and take. So let's say, for instance, my son likes to talk a lot. Well, so do I at times, and it's something I've been aware of and been working on and moving in more silence. However, I still fail constantly at that goal. And I also succeed at speaking less than I used to, which is amazing to say that, because I definitely used to talk even more than I do now. So, that being said, I just... maybe it's something to think about, that if you think somebody else can benefit from it, maybe you can too. Like, let's say you're listening to a podcast and you're like, oh, my mom can really benefit from this. It's probably something you are ignoring yourself or could benefit. Or I don't do that. Well, if you can recognize it, you probably do and don't realize it or aren't ready to realize it. And it's okay. Like, that's the trick, right? It is okay. We're not supposed to be perfect. We are perfect, perfectly imperfect. But these are things that we become aware of, and then once we become aware of them, we can begin to change them. They're just programs, habits, and set ways of thinking that we can alter. And one of the ways we can alter them is through mindfulness, through meditation, through breathing, called neuroplasticity. We can really alter the parts of our mind that work more regularly. We can alter the neurons that are firing. We can alter neurological pathways, and this is all scientifically proven more and more. It's there's evidence of this. So, if you are, maybe not even aware of some things, if you could see it in others, then I can almost assure you that it's something you do or have done. Whether you realize it or not, and maybe that advice you can take yourself, A, and B, hopefully to help us all be less judgmental, less self-righteous, less pretentious, less pompous, that maybe that person, maybe I'm capable of that too. I'll just share a quick story. Like, my mom, her first husband, they got married when I was like 4, and he was very abusive physically and verbally to myself and my mother and my sisters eventually that came along later, and they ended up getting divorced, whatever. And I lived my life for a long time like hating this guy. And as I became an adult and really getting into a lot of this esoteric information and all about forgiveness, and I ended up running into him again, but I had done a lot of this inner work and saw a lot of this knowledge and came into a lot of it. And I was able to hug the guy and forgive him and say, you know what, maybe if I was 20, and I'm not telling you the whole story, like, I was able to really put myself in his shoes and say, you know what, maybe I'm capable of that. Maybe I would have done some things that he did. My mom had ended up getting pregnant with his best friend while he was this guy was not around, and that's who my biological father is that I don't know. And so he comes back around and he gets back with my mom, and here she's got this kid from was supposed to be his best friend. And this is just the short version of the story, but I can only imagine the stuff he was dealing with inside. And he loved my mom for whatever reason, and we don't know why we love who we love, we just do, and can't seem to help that. And all I know is that he died loving my mom and didn't really ever get with anybody again. And, it really broke his heart when things didn't work out. And yeah, he did mess up. He did make mistakes. However, I was able to not be so judgmental. So that's all I'm saying is if you can see it in others, you're probably at least capable of it, even if you haven't done it or don't realize you've done it. So maybe just take some slow breaths in the mirror and say, maybe I better be like, maybe I can do better with being so judgy, so judgmental, so self-righteous, and really be able to hold space for others and bring them back into balance, and really guide them in a way where if we can come not from a pedestal but from equal playing field, we tend to be able to help more because we're listened to more, and we're living more by example rather than by, well, I would never do that. How could you do that? And, that's not received by me well, or any of you, if I had to guess. So, if you're giving advice, probably listen carefully to it, because I bet it's something you could hear yourself and take heed to yourself. At least that's what I find in my life, especially when I'm talking to my little one. I am often talking to him, and I'm like, man, this is stuff I need to hear, and this is stuff I need to work on. And I tell him that right to his face. I don't pretend to be this perfect parent to him. I don't like, anybody putting anybody on a pedestal, so I wouldn't do that to my son, where a lot of us thought our adults were these like perfect beings, and as they had all this advice to give. Meanwhile, it's like, do as I say, not as I do. Rather, with my son, I'm like, yeah, I do these things too, and all we can do is keep working on them together and do our best to let these behaviors go. And, be it anger or talking too much or being selfish or, thinking about ourselves or whatever it may be, So this isn't to judge you. This is just, maybe... you find that this vibes with you, and it's something you're guilty of, just like I am. When we give advice, we can often be taking it. So I love you all. thelivingmysterychurch.org. If I vibe with you at all and you're interested in a consultation, conversation, mindfulness session where I just help guide you through like being more mindful, you make a donation, you make a schedule, you make an appointment, and I'll be there. I'm a man of my word, man of honor and integrity to the best of my ability. So I love you all. May peace be with you today, and well you are doing. Thank you.